Hi, my name is Julia Atkins. I am a PhD student in Arts Administration at Florida State University in Tallahassee, Florida, here in the United States. This lightning talk is going to be on a recent paper I wrote called Creating an Experience to Connect with Audience and Community as it Relates to Symphony Orchestras, specifically here in the United States. Now, a little background, orchestras have faced a declining audience nationally in the United States by 10.5% from 2010 to 2014, according to the most recent data released by the League of American Orchestras. And the performing arts sector has seen the greatest decline in audience, according to the National Endowment for the Arts. And many U.S. orchestras are facing challenges to build their audiences and therefore are facing challenges to connect with their community at large. So it leaves a lot of orchestras wondering how can they become a little bit more relevant? How can they connect with their community? So I took this and took John Dewey's 3 aesthetic theories and applied them to do different orchestra concerts offered by the Tallahassee Symphony Orchestra in Tallahassee, Florida. John Dewey's 3 theories are the museum conception of art, art is experience, and experience in education. And I show how these 3 theories are actually utilized at these 2 very different concerts in order to connect with their core audience in one concert and then the greater community in another. So a little bit about the concerts. The first concert was a traditional classical symphony orchestra concert titled Ode to Joy. It was held on a Saturday night back in March of 2019 in a standard concert hall. It included a pre-concert lecture with the TSO music director where he educated the audience about the music they were about to hear that evening. They were socializing in the lobby before the concert, complete with an open bar. The first half included performances by guest artists Florida A&M Choir and the Morehouse College Glee Club, a standard 15-minute intermission, and the second half included the performance of Beethoven's Symphony No. 9, Ode to Joy. The audience for this was generally older, all-white audience, ages 60 and older, and it was a nearly sold-out crowd, and this concert hall seats about 1,200 people. The second concert was titled Ode to Understanding. This was on a Sunday afternoon at about 3:30 in March of 2019. There was no reception or pre-concert lecture before the concert, and the first half included performances of 2 contemporary works and then Joel Thompson's 7 Last Words of the Unarmed. 7 Last Words of the Unarmed is a new contemporary work composed by Joel Thompson, and it takes the last words said by the 7 unarmed black men that were killed by police officers in the United States and sets them to music. It's a very powerful piece, and I highly suggest you go and listen to it to get an idea for yourself. And I can't show it here, so if you want to go and see it, it is on the Tallahassee Symphony website, and the URL link is at the bottom of this slide. After that performance, there was a panel discussion that included the sheriff of Tallahassee, 2 board members, and then Joel Thompson himself, discussing about how they came to program this piece of work and what it means for the community of Tallahassee. The second half included the performance of Beethoven's Symphony No. 9 again. The audience for this concert was a healthy mix of white and black, and it was a mostly younger audience. Anywhere from ages 20 to 50 years old was most of the audience for this concert, and it was also nearly sold out. Now, in regards to John Dewey's theories, the museum conception of art, this is a theory that Dewey takes to explain how art is separated from the audience, and he uses the visual of putting an object in a glass box like you would in a museum and how it keeps that object safe away from prying hands. And for Dewey, separating art to keep it safe alienates people from valuable experiences with the art form. It gives the impression that this form of art is high art and therefore untouchable. In most standard symphony orchestra concerts, you see that as the orchestra on the stage separated away from the audience. And with the Tallahassee Symphony concerts, this type of theory was essentially broken. We broke the glass box, per se, by seeing how they utilized the music to connect more with their audience. They used the Ode to Joy, the standard symphony by Beethoven, to connect with their core audience, their classical music lovers. But then they used the Ode to Understanding concert and Joel Thompson's work to connect with the community, to have a powerful connection with them. So they were breaking down that glass box, and they were able to get that connection with the audience through their music. So orchestras need to ask themselves, how are they building their relationship between orchestra music and audience, and how can they create an opportunity for both artist and audience to experience orchestral music? Art as experience, there's a whole book on this, but Dewey says art is an experience. Having an experience is a process, not an end result. To have an experience is to give it a name, and an experience is unique, emotional, and meaningful. Both concerts, again, provided this holistic experience for their audience. For the Ode to Joy concert, it was a standard classical orchestra concert, which in itself is an experience because you don't get that anywhere else. And then for the Ode to Understanding concert, that was also an experience because the music provided that experience. So orchestras need to ask themselves not necessarily what music are we playing, but instead what is the experience we're providing. And the music plays a part in that experience, but it's not always just about the music. So what is that experience we are providing our audiences? In experience in education, Dewey believed that all education comes from experience and is based on personal experiences. We therefore must have meaning or significance with what we see, hear, feel, and or touch in order to learn. And interaction is a key component within in education in order to do this. So in both concerts, again, we have that experience and education element there. We're providing that experience, we're providing those opportunities for people to interact with the music itself, with the art, in order to learn from it, especially the Ode to Understanding concert, because that piece itself, with the social justice impact that it has, it really helps educate in a much different way than where you may get it elsewhere. So orchestras need to ask themselves, how are we providing opportunities for interaction that provide meaningful educational experiences? At the end of this theoretical application, I came to 3 general questions of what orchestras really need to ask themselves in order to help build their audience and connect with their community using Dewey's theories. The first is, how are we dismantling this glass box and finding ways to bring the audience and orchestra together? Additionally, what's the experience we are providing our audience? What's that holistic experience? Not just the experience of the music, but the entire experience of their time with us. And lastly, what opportunities are we creating for interaction to provide a unique, meaningful, and educational experience? Thanks for listening to this quick lightning round presentation of my paper. I would love to hear your feedback, or if you have any other questions, I would be happy to speak with you. And I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy during this time. Thanks again, guys. Bye-bye.